What's going on, my lovely people? I'm System Check 66. We've got more Resident Evil Village news and leaks and stuff that's come out. We haven't got a trailer as of yet, which is a bit disappointing, but for now, at least we've got something. Now, as usual, take these with a grain of salt, etc, etc. These are from Biohazard Declassified again. Pretty good site for any Resident Evil related news. Let's get straight into it. So, Resident Evil Village playtest breakdown. New location and character. According to our source, this test, my test, started in a very dark cave similar to the final caves of Resident Evil 7, and they were controlling a female character with a kerosene lantern. We are assuming this is the same younger female that can be seen in the Resident Evil Village reveal trailer, as she is carrying a lantern. In this segment, the woman carried no weapons of any type, and the objective was to escape the caves. Our source also indicates they were under the impression that she was very distressed and looking for something. They also heavily reiterated the fact of the caves being dark and mentioned they had a representative help them adjust the brightness several times. Now, that happened with Silent Hill 2 with me. I found that in the beginning part in the apartments, before you get the flashlight, it's very, very dark, very hard to see things. So sometimes it's alright, other times not such a great thing. We'll see how that gets on. Enemies. In the caves, it seems there is a new enemy type that is different from the beastmen in the cabin standoff demo we last reported on. These new enemies were tall, with goat horns, furry and bipedal, which is interesting as a lone goat is also shown in the Resident Evil Village reveal trailer, so it's hinting at what's to come. These new Biohazard Declassified, you've got to proofread your stuff, seriously. It says these new carried swords. These new enemies carried swords and also had the ability to grab and bite the player as well. Our source compared the look of these enemies to that of Krampus, the evil creature that punishes children at Christmas. While hiding in the caves, our source says they came across a file that called these new creatures Strigoi, which interestingly enough has a base in Romanian folklore, which is fitting as the aesthetic we've seen thus far fits Resident Evil Village. There apparently was another one of the witches in the caves as well that seemed to be able to control the Strigoi, going by the name of Scarlet. Scarlet's description seems to mostly match that of the witches we'd seen in the demo and previously described as part of the boss fight in a separate playtest. The witch again seemed to laugh a lot like the other, sported a tattoo on her forehead and had the ability to control insects to use against the player, and could also emit a purple smoke, though we're not sure to what effect. Objective. As the playable character had no usable weapons in this playtest, the only objective was to hide and use the environment to escape Scarlet and the Strigoi, as there was no way to kill them. All in all, this segment seems very reminiscent of Ashley's section of the castle in Resident Evil 4, as lanterns also play a part here as well. Only instead of throwing them at enemies like in 4, here you light them to ward off enemies. It would appear, based on our source's description of the caves, you needed to sneak around to various locations along the stage to find lanterns on the wall that you could light to keep enemies at bay, as it would seem they have a sensitivity to light. However, the task isn't as easy as it seems. If Scarlet spots you, she'll call the Strigoi to attack you, forcing you to evade and hide until she loses sight of you. Our source recalls dying several times during this section. Very Alien Isolation, and RE7, and RE2, with Mr. X. Playtest conclusion. Our source reported that once you manage to reach the end of the large cave, you'll be able to escape via a trapdoor that will take you to a room in the castle. This room appears to be someone's living quarters, as they mentioned that upon examination they were able to find a file in the room that mentioned a woman named Peppy resided there. However, this character was not seen in the playtest, but the file described her as being tired and under duress for having to take and carry out orders from someone she didn't want to. While this is purely speculation on my part, if this is true, I believe this will turn out to be the slightly elderly woman we see in the hallway during the trailer. Upon exiting this room, the playtest ended with "thanks for playing." They did go on to mention that Resident Evil Village played very smooth on the PlayStation 4 Pro. They tested and there was no visible loss in FPS and the movement was very fluid. Our source did also note that people around them did in fact play other versions of the playtest that seemed to line up with other rumours, and specifically mentioned they saw someone playing in the castle and another person playing in the village. So a lot to go through. Scarlet is the new name for one of the witches, another witch, so that's been revealed. The Strigoi sound very interesting as enemies, you know, that Ethan will be taking on. We get another cave section like RE7 and RE5, 4 as well. And and then the playtesters found themselves in the castle. So that was going from the caves to the castle. Obviously you go from the village to the caves, then to the castle, I believe. and that's how things play out as far as I'm aware from what I've read and all the leaks and information that's come out. The woman Pippi or whatever her name was, that's interesting. Obviously she's a character you meet at some point. You're getting files and stuff. She probably knows a little bit about what's going on, maybe because she's been living in these quarters as like a maid type of person. So yeah, very, very interesting. The Strigoi, they sound pretty cool. They're definitely going in a different direction, 100%, like different direction. Is it going to be a good direction or a bad direction? We'll have to wait and see when the game comes out and we get to play it for ourselves. I quite like it. I do like the fact that there's some folklore, being introduced and things like that. And it's got a lot of Romanian style folklore as well on top of that. So it's all very interesting. It's only a little bit of news compared to what we've had previously. As for the trailer, I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if it's actually going to drop in August. It doesn't seem like it's going to happen. I kind of wanted it to happen and to get to see a new trailer. But they did say, on this site, Biohazard Declassified. Is it Declassified? I always get confused. Biohazard Declassified have said that we'll get news coming out in the next couple of weeks. So fingers crossed, we get some actual Capcom news and information. Maybe when the leaks have dropped and these leaks are actually genuine, maybe Capcom have decided not to show off a trailer and handle it a bit differently. Who knows? Maybe that's one reason why they've decided not to show off a trailer or come out with any new news and details. That might be a reason, so these could be on the money. As for the whole lantern, sort of lighting lanterns to keep the enemies at bay, I do like that. It's cool. It reminds me a lot of Alien Isolation, Resident Evil 7, even RE2 with Mr. X, where you can't actually defeat these enemies. You just got to kind of put them down a little bit and then run off. In Alien Isolation, for half the game, you can't put that thing down until you get the flamethrower, and that's like halfway through the game. So I do like stuff like that, but just don't overdo it, please, Capcom. Because Resident Evil has always been synonymous with, being able to fire a gun and blow something's head off. So let's not take away from that. But these stealth kind of sections and lighting the lamps to keep the enemies at bay is all very Bram Stoker's Dracula and also the Wolfman. That's really cool. So yeah, that's about it. I'm going to end it here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, share it if you want to. It keeps me going and it helps me get seen. Subscribe to the channel. I need my subscribers to grow a little bit more, so maybe you guys can help with that if you like me as a content creator and you like the content that I am actually providing. Until next time, I've been System Check 66. Have a good week and I'm out of here. Peace.